أعزائي طلبة المرحلة الأولى، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. معكم دكتورة فتوى سعدي لإعطائكم المحاضرة الأولى من مادة الهستولوجي النظري. Histology means the study of animal tissues. Tissue definition. A tissue is a group of cells and their extracellular matrix that share the same embryonic origin and perform a similar function. Despite the complexity of the human body, it composed of four main types of tissues, and this classification depends on embryonic development and these tissue structures and their functions. These tissues are epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues, and nervous tissues. احنا في محاضرتنا لليوم راح نركز على الابيثيليال tissues. Epithelial tissues are essentially large sheets of cells covering the internal and external surfaces of the body, and they arise from all of the three primary germ layers اللي هي الectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. For the ectoderm, its outer layer, for example, skin and surface of sense organs. Mesoderm, which is the middle layer, for example, lining of body cavities, and the last one, endoderm, which is the inner layer, for example, internal linings of gastrointestinal tract and respiratory tract. Let us speak about general characteristics of epithelial cells and tissues. Number one, polar. Epithelial cells have structurally and functionally distinct apical and basal surfaces. هذا الرسم التوضيحي للابيثيليال cells هي تحوي على apical، هاي الجهة العليا، and basal surface. The apical surface faces the external environment or lumen. However, the basal surface faces the basement membrane. الصفة الأخرى للابيثيليال cells للtissues closely connected continuous sheets. Epithelial cells typically fit closely together, forming continuous sheets. The lateral surface of these cells interact through junctions complexes, which are known as adhering junctions, tight junctions, and desmosomes and gap junctions. طبعا هذه الخلايا الابيثيليال cells ترتبط فيما بينها رباط رصين من خلال هذه الجنكشنز اللي تربطها فيما بينها، وطبعا هذه خاصية هذه الخاصية تمنح الخلايا الطلائية الابيثيليال سيلز صفة أو تمنحها خاصية مقاومة التوكسينز الجيرمز. فهذا الارتباط القوي يمنع for example the penetration of germs to infect the underlying tissues or another harmful materials. The another characteristic of these cells and tissues is avascular. Epithelial tissues doesn't contain blood vessels ما عدا the stria vascularis of the inner ear. And the last one is they supported by connective tissue. Epithelium rely on support from underlying connective tissues. طبعا الابيثيليال cells ما تكون عائمة، ولكن هي مستندة على connective tissues, and this supporting is facilitated by a layer of extracellular matrix called basement membrane. Let us speak about types of epithelial tissues. There are two main types of epithelial tissues: A. Covering or lining epithelium, B. Glandular epithelium. For the covering or lining epithelium, they are classified depends on the number of structural layer. They classified into two types: simple epithelium and stratified epithelium. Simple epithelium, they consist of just one layer of epithelial cells, and these cells are in direct contact with the basement membrane. وهذا واضح بالفيجر انه تتكون from just one layer. For the stratified epithelium, this type of epithelium is composed of more than one layer of epithelial. أيضا واضح بالشكل. And the basal one, the last one, is in direct contact with the basal lamina. بالنسبة للsimple epitheliums راح نبدأ نقسمها إلى 4 types depending on the shape of epithelial cells. Number 1 is simple squamous epithelium. شكل الخلايا تكون squamous, and this type of cells or tissues is lining in different parts of your body. For example, lining the inside of blood vessels, and is called endothelium. Lining the inside of lung cavities, and they called mesothelium. And lining the inside of mouth and esophagus. The second one is simple cuboidal epithelium. على الرسم التوضيحي إله. This type also found in parts of your body, such as lining the tubules with the kidney and the ducts of many glands. The third type of simple epithelium tissues is simple columnar tissue, and this type lining stomach and the intestines. The last one is pseudostratified epithelium. هذا الشكل التوضيحي له. It consists of many types of cells arranged in different levels. لاحظ هنا الخلايا arranged in different levels, and for this reason it gives the tissue a pseudostratified shape. This type of tissues can be non-ciliated pseudostratified, for example located in the membranous part of male vas deferens, or it can be ciliated, موجودة cilia. Ciliated type of this tissue is found in the trachea. طبعا هذه السيليا إلها وظيفة دفاعية للجسم. النوع الآخر من الإبيثيليوم اللي قلنا هو stratified epithelium, which is consist of many cell layers, and it can also is divided into 4 types depending on the shape of tissue of the cells. Number 1, stratified squamous epithelium, and this can be keratinized and non-keratinized. For the keratinized is found in the skin, epidermis, and non-keratinized is found in mouth and vagina. The second one is stratified cuboidal epithelium, which is found in the ducts of the glands. The third one is stratified columnar epithelium, which is found in conjunctiva. And the last one is transitional epithelium. This type is found in the urinary system. It's called a transitional epithelium because of the gradual changes in the shapes of the apical cells as the bladder falls with the urine. لاحظ هذا الفيجر يوضح لي the changes in the apical cells. So when the bladder is full, when the bladder is empty, so the superficial cells are cuboidal. هذه superficial cells لاحظها cuboidal and with dome shaped surface. but when it's fold, these epithelials flattened and they like stratified squamous epithelium. The another type of epithelial tissue is glandular epithelium. Some epithelial cells may be specialized to perform a secretory function and comprised of organized collections of secretory epithelial cells known as glands. Also, they known as glandular epithelia. And these glands can be classified into two types: endocrine without ducts and exocrine with ducts. For endocrines, they release their secretions directly to into bloodstream for distribution to target cells with specialized receptors. Examples of these glands: pituitary gland, ovaries and test, and the pancreas. The second type of glands is exocrine glands, and they release their secretion into a lumen through an epithelial lined tube called duct. And this type of glands such as salivary glands and sweat glands. We still speak about exocrine glands. We know that most of exocrine glands are multicellular. However, there is an exception as goblet cells. They are the only example of unicellular exocrine glands in mammals, and they can be found in epithelium lining of the intestine. These specialized epithelial cells secrete mucus, are typically found in simple and pseudostratified columnar membranes. هذا الفيجر يوضح الجوبلت سيلز اللي تقوم بعملية إفراز الميوكس. بعد أن عرفنا structures تركيب الخلايا وتصنيفها ووجودها في أي part of your body, now we want to know what their function, their role in your body. They have roles in your body, for example, protection, absorption or secretion, motility, sensation. For protection, epithelium provide a layer of protection for all underlying tissues from toxins, pathogens and others. مثل ما شرحنا بالسلايد اللي بي كان الخلايا الابيثيليال cells وكيف كانت no tight connections between them. فهذا الترتيب والقوة اللي تربط بينهم تمنح الخلايا صفة انه البروتكشن، تحمي الخلايا الأنسجة اللي تحتها من for example penetration of pathogens or toxins or other harmful materials. Example for this tissue: stratified squamous keratinized epithelium of the skin. The second function is absorption and or secretion. Depending on the location of these tissues, some epithelia are involved in absorption or secretion. Example: simple cuboidal epithelium of the choroid plexus. The third role is motility. Some epithelial have motile cilia on their surface that move in coordinate ways to move particles, for example mucus اللي هي طبعا example هو ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium of the trachea. Last role is sensation, for example stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium of the cornea. Thanks for your attention.